So let's get to know Meredith. What is your favourite food and who cooks that?
Homemade food, cooked by me. I love it because I've spent the time obviously to make it, but I do love Mexican food, but I am actually a foodie. I love food. So all foods.
If you could describe yourself in one word, what would that one word be?
Vivacious, because I think I'm pretty much out there. I'm an extrovert anyway, but certainly I'm very vivacious.
What is your secret talent?
I can do the splits. Lots of people look at me and think, really? But I can actually do the splits.
Football or rugby?
Football. I grew up watching Pelé.
Tell me why you're running for council again.
I'm running again because I've got the experience of what it means to be at the governance table of a council. I've had this amazing opportunity. I was elected for Te Maruata. It's a Māori committee for local government New Zealand. So I've had a chance to meet with Minister Nanaima Huta on a number of occasions and actually go to Parliament. My kind of key skills, I guess, I bring is influence. And so by building my relationship and connectivity in those spaces, I want to influence change.
If you are re-elected, what would be your number one priority?
The disengaged, I guess, those that are still in the fringes and in the margins who don't feel they are, valued as humans in this region, as ratepayers, as citizens. I want to do a lot more in participatory democracy in our schools. I get that opportunity, so I want to really talk to people about what can we do to really, really, really change intergenerational poverty cycle and get all people feeling that they are valued as people who choose to live, love, work and play in Tairawhiti.
If you had a magic wand and you can wave it over to Tairawhiti and change one thing, what would that one thing be?
Well, it is hope for me. That there is a lot of people that have got a real sense of hopelessness. So I'd love to just really permeate the region with the knowledge and hope that they can see change come and happen for them, for everybody, and that everyone can benefit together. So hope it seems like a bit of a fluffy magic wand moment, but I see a lot of that hopelessness and homelessness and houselessness and all these issues that actually continue. So I think we need to plant more seeds of hope that actually change by actions that are meaningful, that lead to people going, oh, things can change.
What do you think the council has done well in the last 3 years?
It's investigated institutional systemic racism. It's not an easy topic to talk about, but it's gone on a journey to unpack why Māori are less likely to be engaged in this space, Māori land issues, significant natural assets that is coming through with government policy and legislation, and realising that it's a systemic flaw. It's not about attacking individuals and stating that these people are biased, etc. It's actually understanding that we are part of a system and an institute that was set up by governors that were, from a colonial and imperial England, Westminster background, and it still permeates through the system we're in. So to challenge that, we really have to ask, is it relevant to a new democracy, to a now democracy? And I think that's something I want to continue to journey with our council on, because I have been a key player to challenge racism.
What do you think the council needs to work on or didn't do so well in the last 3 years?
I think it struggles with how it truly engages with those people, again, that are disengaged in respect to trying to just live. We've got a lot of family in this region. Actually, 65% of our region still continue to live in decile 8 to 10. But it's actually about understanding why we still see families struggling to just buy a bread and a milk when you're talking rates and land use and climate and all these factors that for them, it's actually about how to just live. Just to actually feel like you're accomplishing something as a mum and a dad when you're on such a low income and getting judged and all that. So I think council's not it's a conduit really to relationships between key stakeholders, and it can actually facilitate and use its municipal spaces better, I believe, to get those groups of people in, so we don't see a rise in dairies being driven into, and we don't see a rise of crime, hopelessness permeating into, making poor decisions. So I see that hope in that space of having the right people at the governance table to make decisions because they've lived that experience.
What are some key factors or things that can be done to help in this area?
Housing is probably a key element that councils can help, because we have a key role with resource consenting processes. So we really have to influence central government to relinquish a lot of the power and legislation and policy. We've got to remind ourselves about people not putting them just in a house, but a home. How do we create neighbourhoods, and spaces that is equitable? So treescaping, you'll see in a lot of our affluent neighbourhoods, beautiful trees, and road pathways, etc. And then you'll see in those decile 8 to 10 neighbourhoods, nothing of that, like poor footpaths aren't managed or whatever. So, and that's about changing the narrative around a ratepayer. Whoever you are in this region, if you pay your rent in a rental space, your rates are paid, the landlord pays rates. So it's changing it up to say everyone who lives here, that's invested to living here, should have the best of everything in an equal space.
What do you think makes a good counsellor?
Someone that can read. Thankfully, I'm an avid reader. I read a lot. So that was one of the easiest things for me, because I do love to read and I'm fascinated by learning new knowledge. So you've got to be curious. You've got to be a questioner. You've got to be somebody that's prepared to put yourself out there. I mean, you're in a bit of a fishbowl anyway. People want to know everything about you because you're a community servant. And that's fair enough, but I think it's really important. A district councillor is someone that's informed, educated, of course, and able to articulate and comprehend a large portion of reports you read.
What do you think you bring to the council table?
Well, I bring that grassroots connection. I've lived here all my life. I was born here. I bring a lived experience of being someone who was raised in a political household, to be fair. Went through schools here. I've worked in every industry in this region, and I've connected and supported the local business sector too. So personally, I bring a willingness to really serve my community in every way I can. I still teach in schools, I still share my lived experience around the district, and my husband and I both still continue to do youth work really in the region too. So I bring, I guess, a diverse range of skills that are really key around communication. I'm a positive person. I do believe in good things. I have a faith, so I do pray for my region.
So you've probably seen or heard about some of the TikToks, etc., talking about yourself. So question is, thoughts around vaccines and mandates. What are your thoughts?
Obviously a very hot topic in the nation we are now living in. I served on the Gisborne the Hauora Health Board for 6 years, and again I went into that space to talk about equity and health and the disparities and access to health issues that this region currently faces. So of course when the pandemic hit our shores, I'm on a sitting board member in a very a government space. My first response to that really was to question how it is that we can get new medicine so quickly when I've seen dear friends pass away because they weren't able to access their cancer medications. And then of course my own personal health, which like everybody I assumed they would go to their doctors like I did and question new medication. I've never been a drug taker, I've never been drunk, I've never smoked a cigarette. So when it comes to any medications, I'm totally like, well, what do I need to take this for? What's going to be the reaction to it? Blah. So I just felt that I did my due diligence. I spoke with 3 doctors, 2 virologists, and shared my own personal family's medical issues, which led to me saying, look, at this time I don't feel confident that it may cause me some harm. And so I'm not vaccinated, but I have not gone out there to tell anybody to not get vaccinated. I have got inoculations because I have visited third world countries. And it's really important that when people put your name in parts of posts and rhetoric, just give me a call. I'm happy for you to call me and ask me directly about it because it's been a highly stressful time. My husband wasn't well at the time as well. So it's about individualism as such, but I would never put anyone in my community at harm. So if it meant staying away, I would stay away. Staying home, having a RATS test, all of those things I've followed through with.